Did you know companies are expected to spend $1.5 billion in ad revenue through podcasts by 2023? That's right. Podcasting is the future and we're still very early. The tech is better than ever and the barrier to entry is lower than ever. That's why I created my No Bullshit Guide Podcasting for Beginners ebook to help you get started. Visit blackisnewrich.com to get yours.
Everybody thinks being an entrepreneur is like, oh, rich. You're rich now. You're traveling. You're doing your thing. Everybody likes you. Like, it's not like that at all. At all. It's the hardest thing you ever. If you have a problem working a 9 to 5, you're not gonna make it as an entrepreneur.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Black is the New Rich podcast. I am your host, Corey Cash, and today we got a very special guest. He's been an entrepreneur for a very long time, and I've been following his work for a long time, even when I was doing photography, and I just seen him grow over the last, let's say 5 years or so, and now he has a film company, but I don't want to keep talking. Can you introduce yourself?
What's going on, bro? My name's Jamal. Everybody knows me as Flash. My company is called Flash Forward. I don't really want to say a small production company because we're kind of doing big things now. We're doing big things now, but you know, we're not known globally or anything like that. But we specialize in film, photography, web design, graphic design. We're starting to take on more, bigger projects like movies, TV shows, commercial work. We're well known for like weddings and that kind of stuff too, but we're really trying to expand now and just do our thing,
Okay, dope. So let's bring it back a little bit. How did you even get into like the film industry? How did you pick up a camera?
To be honest with you, I was always into it.
Yeah.
I just never really knew it was something that I can make a living from. So I was like the guy in high school that would always have his cell phone out, recording this, recording that, and then I take it back to the computer and do whatever I can with it.
Same.
It wasn't nice or anything. I just did it, right? And I just tried to have fun with it, and then I started to really learn the craft of it, like composition, exposure, this, that, whatever. And I was like, this is a lot more complicated than just pointing a camera at things moving around, right? So I was like, look, I'm into this. I want to learn more about it. And I'm going to try and like do something with it aside from just for fun, right? And then, it just kind of kept growing from when I think I really started when I was in grade 11.
Oh, shoot.
And it just kept growing.
Did you do like film school or anything like that, or?
No, I never went to film school. Everything was self-taught.
Same.
YouTube was my teacher.
Yeah, same.
And then, I started following around a couple of guys in the city that were doing their thing. And I'm like, yo, can I see how to do this from your perspective and like try to get better or whatever? And that's really how my entire career was built. Just YouTube and looking at other people's stuff.
Jeez. Okay. So how did you get to the film company? Cause I assumed that you're doing it by yourself before, just doing independent projects, but how did you get to the film company? Hey everyone. I hope you're enjoying this episode. Please remember to subscribe, comment, and like. Black is the New Rich.
It was like a mental decision.
Yeah.
Right. I think one thing that bothered me a little bit was I didn't want to be known as just the camera guy or the cameraman.
Yeah, I hate that too.
You know what I mean? Like,
I hate that too.
A lot of people look at you and they're like, oh, the cameraman, I need a cameraman, whatever. And it's like, not just a cameraman.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah. So after I started taking myself more seriously and I was like, yo, let me learn the craft of this and learn how to do this at a more professional level, I also decided to start upgrading my gear and like really investing, like not only my time, but like my money. I like put real dollars into this thing, right? And I said to myself, I'm going to bet on me, put the time, put the money up, and we'll just see what happens, right? And basically what happened was I started getting clients. Like people were like, oh, okay, this looks good. How much would it be to do this, And I started just doing it for clients. And that's where it just turned into organically, really, into a production company.
Okay. So you mentioned something that I can relate to, like that camera guy notion. Like I hate that, to be honest. And that's kind of why I personally don't like shooting celebrities, because it becomes all about them and never about the artist behind it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So how do you feel about that?
It's true. I don't know if you saw, I think it was on Six Buzz or something the other day, where a videographer was like, what did he say exactly? He's like, oh, he's selling all of his equipment.
Oh, I seen that for music videos. Yeah. I don't know who it was though.
I can't remember who it was either. But he was like, yo, I'm selling all my equipment because I'm underappreciated and da 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 da. And I'm like, that's every day, bro.
Yeah.
Like depending on who your client is, they might be super big time, they might be small time, but everybody in between, they just kind of look at you as like, if you show up by yourself, especially you're a cameraman.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, I don't want to be a cameraman. That's why I decided like I have to get a team and I have to position myself and present myself to people as a production company.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people like to hustle. Mm-hmm. I mean, hustling is a good thing. Mm-hmm. Like you gotta be able to hustle to make things happen. But at some point you gotta stop hustling and start building a business. Mm-hmm. And like really early was when I started saying like, I don't want to hustle, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want to hustle. I want to build a business and I want people to come to me with an expectation of what it is, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Just speaking on that, like, that's why I got a little bit discouraged when it came to the camera stuff, because I was hustling and not really building the business side. I can be honest, like I felt like my negotiating part of things was weak. Right. So I know that you negotiate well and you have a process for that. How do you go about negotiating the price you want? Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying this episode. Please remember to subscribe, comment, and like. Black is the New Rich.
Yeah, it actually is an entire process, right? I know most people, when they get a DM on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, they just start typing out the information, right?
Yeah.
I don't do that. Mm-hmm. Like I used to do that. I don't do that no more. Mm-hmm. Right. And the reason why is because I want to present myself as a business, not an individual. Mm-hmm. Right. So I tell that like, I'll take the DM and I'm like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell them like, go fill out my contact form on my website. Mm-hmm. And that way I'm gathering all their information. So name, number, budget, the project details, like all those kind of things that I need to know just to get an idea of what this person, if they're serious or if they're not serious or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I'll take that information and I'll ask them to do a over the phone consultation. Right. And a lot of people don't understand your message. Like when you're messaging somebody on a DM, your message can come across as so different depending on how someone you say it. Or versus who's taking in your information. When you talk to people on the phone, it's like you can make clear messaging, thoughts, clear thoughts of what you want to do. So once I started calling clients and asking them, like I don't try to sell myself. Like if you contacted me, it already lets me know that you saw something that you like from my portfolio. True. Right. So by the time you get on the phone with me, now I want to know what you need from me. Mm-hmm. And we have that conversation about your project, due dates, target group, all those kind of things that are important to the end product. So it makes it
right off the bat way more professional.
Exactly. And when they talk to me and they hear me speak and they hear the questions that I'm asking them and all that kind of stuff, it's like, okay, this guy's not a regular cameraman. Right? He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. And when you start having conversations like that, you start asking clients like, what's your outcome? What do you want from this? Like, what is this going to do for you? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, well, it's going to help me get more followers and da 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 da. Okay. And what do more followers mean for your brand or your business or what you're trying to do? And I get them to talk about money. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I build this video for you and it's going to help you get, I don't know, let's say 10,000 more followers. What does 10,000 more followers mean for your business? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's going to increase my revenue by $5,000 more a month. Okay, so then we're talking about helping you make $5,000 more a month, $5,000 over the course of a year, right? We're talking that we talk these numbers like, okay, so I'm gonna help you get like 60 grand a year.
For the year. So this video is gonna cost some money.
So then I can say, if you're making 60 grand a year, and I say, okay, I'm gonna need 10.
That's a good flip.
Right, we're talking business now, right? We're not talking no cameraman stuff. Right? Yeah. So it's like that. That's my process. And then once I get them to, talk about their numbers, talk about what they need from me, and we go over the numbers or whatever, I'll send them a follow-up email after the call, of course, right? Just to basically break down what we talked about. Yeah. And I'll send them an invoice. Yeah, right away. Yeah, I'm gonna send you an invoice, 50% up front, and we can make this official. Mm-hmm. And we do what we got to do.
Jeez, what have you noticed from the years of like negotiating? When do people come back at you with like, hey, bro, I can't? What do you do with the people that necessarily say, yeah, I can't afford this. Can you do this for me? Or da-da-da-da.
So this is why I get them on the phone, right? And when I get them on the phone and we talk about their project, they're telling me everything that they're going to get from.
Oh, smart. Yeah,
get from the conversation, get from the product that I give them. So it's like, but I thought you said that this is going to help you make $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
Or I thought you said this is going to help you get 10,000 subscribers. Or I thought this was going to do this, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want that, we got to do what we got to do to make that happen, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is when you start building yourself as a company and not as an individual, if I was by myself asking a client for $10,000, let's say, they'd be like, bro, why am I going to give just you 10 G's?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But if I'm like, yo, I have a team of 6 people that's coming to do this,
yeah,
then $10,000 seems more
reasonable and
respectable to pay to somebody. Right. So it's like, everything is premeditated essentially when you're working with clients. You gotta think ahead of them a little bit so that you not only understand what they want, but you can also get what you need from them to get the job done.
True. Do you find that because you have expensive gear, you have a red camera, right? Do you find that helps your price points for a lot of projects?
To be honest with you, the average person doesn't care.
Okay.
If I'm being honest with you, the average person that comes and they want a video for their Instagram, they don't care.
And actually, when you put on Instagram, that gets rendered down to like 180p anyway. Or 1080p.
Well, yeah, it's still going to look better than most other things.
True.
But at the end of the day, like they don't know what a red camera is. They don't know what a cinema lens is. Like they don't even care, right?
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, I just need a video done. How much is it going to be? Right. So my gear is now presented to directors, producers, like
that know
people that understand the film world.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, this guy shoots with a red Komodo. All right, perfect. So they're automatically going to assume like this guy's going to cost between here and here.
Yeah.
Right. And those are the type of clients that I'm fighting to work with.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Not that I don't want to work with like, the smaller businesses or whatever, but I'm not fighting you to give you what you want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you want it, like we'll do it, but I'm not going to beg you or try to convince you to pay more for what you want.
And actually, to be honest, like doing videography and photography, I notice the clients with the lower budgets, they have the most asks.
Oh my gosh.
And the ones that have the higher budgets, they just say, hey, get this done, boom, done. And that's it.
Bro, one thing that you find out like really quickly is the cheaper clients want the most.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they're the hardest to work with because you'll deliver something that's amazing. They don't understand how it's going to actually work for what they're trying to do. And they'll be like, oh, but I want this too. And I want you to do it this way. And it's like, if I do it this way, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Versus the person that knows what's going on and you do it exactly the way that you discussed it and you give them what they're looking for, they're just happy. They're like, okay, here's your money.
Boom.
Let's go to the next thing.
Yeah. Jeez. So when I started, I didn't think about systems and processes. And I wouldn't say I regret it, but it's something that if I could do it over again, I would implement it first. I know you talked about your contact sheet and where that goes. When did you implement your system and process, and what's the full range of it on the back end?
Okay, so I'll give the secret out. The what do you call it? Program that I use to organize my business is a company called HoneyBook.
Oh, I just got it like 2 days ago.
Perfect. Yeah. HoneyBook is amazing, and the reason why I love that.
What is it for everyone that doesn't know?
So HoneyBook is a client management program, which essentially intakes clients and puts them, and you create a process of how you want to interact with that client all the way from the first inception all the way to delivery. So on my HoneyBook, essentially the way that I do is like I'll get somebody to fill out the contact form and I have a bunch of preset emails already ready to go.
Oh.
So as soon as they send me an email and I read it, I'm like, okay, they're looking for this. Okay, cool. Boom. I send them a preset email.
Yeah.
From that email is, like I said, trying to schedule a call or whatever so that we can talk about their project. After the call, I send out another template, and I kind of change it around to make it customized based on what we talked about. And then depending on what they say to me, or if they respond right away, I might have a couple follow-ups that are automatically happening in the background. And once they decide like they want to work with me, I'll triggers an invoice to be sent out to them
right away.
Like, well, after the consultation, after they send me an email saying like, yeah, we want to work with you. Yeah, I have a preset template ready to just be like, okay, cool, boom. Send the email. Numbers. And what that does for me, and I'll tell you, I started with HoneyBook probably about 2 years ago. And one of the things that I hate about business is like following up and all that back end stuff. Like I hate it. Yeah. So anything that I can do to eliminate or limit that process, it makes me like super efficient. Yeah. Right. So it's like, just like yourself, I was like, yo, I wish I started doing something like this earlier, because like I can't keep track of all that stuff. Yeah, it's a lot. I have messages coming in from here, there, whatever. And it's like, if they don't respond right away, I'll forget about them. And that's all money that potentially could be losing out yours, right? Yeah. So it's like, once you have your system in play, you put everybody in the right place where they need to be, and you start following up, you start sending out the information, and that's how you start closing deals.
Okay. So for someone that's like coming into the camera world, or it doesn't even necessarily have to be a camera, but business, would you recommend them setting up their systems first, or getting some
right away? Like as soon as you know what type of services you want to offer, and you have an idea of what you want to charge for it, set up a process. Okay. What do they call it? A sales funnel is what.
Yeah, sales funnel.
What everybody calls it. Yeah. Right. And they're huge, because once you put people through the proper sales funnel, you're more than likely going to book that client.
True.
Of course, there's still going to be people that are like, oh, that's out of my budget, or like I found someone else, or they just don't respond at all. Like that kind of thing you have no control over. But once you get on the phone with a client and you talk to them, like you got to remember your process is probably going to be 10 times better than the next person they talk to. The next person is going to send them a DM on Instagram.
Yeah. That was me.
Like responding like that, right? Yeah. And then if I send them a brochure with my portfolio, like some of my work,
your templates,
my prices, my this, my that, like they're going to look at you and they're like, and then they're going to look at me and they'll be like, okay, this seems a lot more professional, and it might be more expensive, but like,
it's getting done.
It's speaking for itself, right?
True. How do you go about your lead generation? Are you doing word of mouth? Are you doing Facebook ads? How are you getting your clients?
So right now, I'm not really doing any type of paid marketing. Okay. I should. Okay. Like that's something that I was talking about with my team the other day. It was like, yo, we need to start, running these ads and whatever, right? But we're kind of in a spot where we're getting a lot of inquiries coming in as a team, and we're booking pretty good clients, right? Good. Like I was telling you earlier, I was on a submarine last year. Yeah. Like, where does that happen, right? Out of nowhere, that just came to my table, right? So we're getting clients. So it's not like we have to go out and spend money on marketing, but at the end of the day, like we're going into the slower part of the year. Season, so like from, I'll say like October to maybe like March, it's significantly slower than summertime, spring, summer. Yeah. So at this point, it's like we need to, what we decided is that we're going to start putting out some more spec work. So like projects that we thought of and just go out and do it. True. And then put some ad dollars behind it, and so that more people can see it.
Okay, dope. So in building a team, like when did you know that you wanted to build a team? And another question following is that how do you go about paying your team?
So this is why it's important to have a structure in play. Okay. So with my team, I do it two ways. Okay. I'll either ask them like, okay, so we have a 4-hour shoot or whatever. What do you need for that? If they tell me this is what they need, this is what they need, right? And then I take that information back to the client, and then that's all tied into the price, right? Okay. And then there's the other option where a client will come with a budget, and I'm like, okay, this is what we can do with the budget. Are you in or are you out? And if they're in, we do it. If they're out, then we don't do it. Then we don't do it together. I'll find someone else to do it. You know what I mean? Or if they're busy or whatever the case is. But I think it's really important, like being a creative and just being from like just experiencing being undervalued a lot.
Yeah, trust me.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you just know you're gonna meet people that expect you to do a full day for like 2 bills.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? You're crazy undervalued. So it's like, for me, I always
look out for your guys.
Exactly. Like I always think about the other guys on my team, and everybody, like, we're all grown. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has their home, they have their responsibilities, they got kids, they got bills. Like $200 for 4 people. Like,
yeah, what are you talking about?
You know what I'm saying? You can't do anything with that. So I try to always think about my team and make sure that at least even if it's under what we usually do, I always like say like, yo, this is what it is. And I tell them straight up, like, if this is not for you, if it's not enough for you to come out, like, I'd rather you tell me that.
Yeah. So
then show up and not work. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the mentality that I have with my team and how we operate.
Okay.
And it works well. Like we don't have, and the other thing that you really have to think about is like, check your egos at the door.
True.
Right? As good as I think I am, there's always somebody that's doing it at a higher level or better than me. So it's like, you never know who you're going to meet when you go out to these different events or you do these different type of projects or whatever. You don't know who you're going to meet. So it's like, when you come in and you come to work and you check your ego, it's like, it's not always about the dollar at the end of the day. It's about learning and building connections and networking and all partnerships and collaborations. I know people hate that word collaborations, but if it's done right, I love it
right now, to be honest.
If it's done right, it's done really well.
Yeah. So you talked about, so that's what I want to say. When it comes to like pricing, again, do you factor, like, for example, a piece of your equipment, all the programs that you use, do you factor all that in?
All of it. So when I first, when I buy any piece of new gear, the first thing I do is I go and I see how much it rents for.
Okay, true.
Right? So if I have the red Komodo, you can rent that for $400 a day.
Yeah.
Right? So automatically I'm thinking, okay, $400 a day. I have a whole breakdown. I'm releasing a course that just teaches people how to price themselves. So it's a full breakdown of how to get to like a day rate.
Okay.
Right. And I always tell creatives, like, don't do per hour, do a either half day or a full day rate for your services. And within that half day or full day services, you're factoring in your equipment, your experience.
True.
Right. And then you also want to think about, how far is it? Like, am I going out to Montreal or, you know what I'm saying? All those kind of things you have to think about. How much are you going to pay your team? And then you always want to try and at least keep 30% of whatever number you present to the client
for yourself.
At least 30%. If you could push it up, but you at least want to take home 30% for yourself. So that's the way that I break it down and put it together for my clients.
Okay, dope. So when did you develop this like winner's mindset? Like, you know, I'm going to push forward. I'm going to scale my business and just go for the top. When did you develop that? And how did you do it?
It's crazy. I walked in and the first thing I saw was Kobe on your wall. And as a kid, Kobe was a huge influence for me. Like, on the court, he was obviously a killer, but the way that he approached like everything, it was like very methodical.
Yeah.
It's like he broke everything down from, he'll take something super big, the biggest problem,
to little tiny steps.
Right? Yeah. He breaks it down to these little tiny steps on how to get from one point to the other, and he stayed consistent with it. That was like his whole thing with people, is like, go hard and stay consistent. And like, from a little kid, like I said, like, that's just how I thought. Like, anything that I approached, anything that I really wanted to do, I looked at the big problem and broke it down into smaller things that I can digest, we'll say. And I just started working towards that. And it's like, damn, like I told you, man, it's a hotline sometimes. And it's like, when I approach anything and like where business is concerned, I always want to try and make sure that I'm looking at everything and just try to get a little bit better every single time I do it. I think one of the biggest things, especially for creatives, they're afraid of failing. I don't care. If I do something and I bomb it, like that's what it is. You take those failures and you learn from it. And you take that what you learn from that failure and then you apply it to the next thing that you're going to do, or the next time you're going to do something. And that's how you become better. Like, you don't get better by just being perfect and winning every single time. You have to lose. You have to be unsuccessful at something. It has to be hard. You know what I'm saying? Or you're not going to get better.
100%. So speaking about failures, what do you think your biggest loss has been thus far, and how'd you bounce back?
Man. My biggest loss. The thing is like, there's so many losses that you can go. I think one of them was losing out on a wedding that was they had a $60,000 budget for us.
Jeez.
And it was going to be shot out in Greece.
Oh, wow.
And this was like right before COVID.
Yeah. So that would have been nice.
It would have been wicked. That would have been one of the things to put on my portfolio that would have solidified our team in the wedding game literally forever. Yeah. Like, no one could talk to us at that point, right? And then COVID hit, and the couple's like, yeah, we can't do it no more.
Jeez.
And we just had to, like, we were so amped, so ready. We like had a whole like shopping cart ready for all the things that we're gonna get to go out and do the job. Like, we were amped, and then it just got taken away, like just like that. Like, before you could even think, it was gone. And it's like, I think for the average person, they'll be like, oh man, like, what do I do? Like, oh my God, I don't even want to do this anymore. Kind of, I don't know, really doubting themselves and like really being hard on themselves. But I look at everything from a realistic point. Like, does that suck? Absolutely. It's a terrible thing to hear or have to deal with, but I have no control over that.
Yeah, 100%.
I can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Right? And knowing that, all I can really do is like reload and, you know, shoot for the next thing. And that's just the way that I like, if you talk to my team and see us how we interact, like, I'm always the coolest cucumber in the room. Like, I'm not stressed. I'm never worried. I'm never too high. I'm never too low. I'm always like medium. And then when these bad things happen, when anything's happened, I just say, yo, like, all right, this happened. It's done. Like, what can we do next? Like, what do we want to do next? And how do we want to attack this? And that's just the way it has to be. Like, everybody thinks being an entrepreneur is like, oh, rich. You're rich now. You're traveling. You're doing your thing. Everybody likes you. Like, it's not like that at all. At all. It's the hardest thing you ever. If you have a problem working a 9 to 5, you're not going to make it as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not doing a 9 to 5. You're doing a 24/7 now.
100%.
Every day, all day, it's dependent on you to make things happen, or you don't eat. So it's like, if you can't wrap your head around that and just deal with all the highs and the lows, like, you're done. You're done.
Yeah, that'll be a lot. Have you thought about getting like a virtual assistant for all the knick-knack stuffs in your business when it comes to like templates, processes, and all that?
Definitely thought about it. I think the only issue with a virtual assistant right now is getting them to learn all the processes and putting them through like how I like things done.
True.
For me, I am very hands-on. Even though if I don't like doing the work, I do it anyways, because I know if I talk to the client, or I know if I do this for the client, more than likely they're going to do what I want them to do. Yeah. Right. So it's hard for me to give that responsibility to somebody else and then kind of see what happens. You know what I mean? When where it's like, I know what I can do with these clients if I get them on the phone. Yeah. No, I feel like you always have to be on the phone, but off that phone, then everything becomes like a repeated type of system. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's even like sending off an email, like the way I would do it compared to, let's say, maybe somebody else would do. Even though it's a template, you still have to customize it a little bit. True. So it's like, it's hard for me to like, I need to let go, essentially. Like that might actually be the next part of my development that's going to take me to the next level, is being able to like delegate. Because you're the visionary, really. Right. Just delegate work and give tasks to people and let them just handle it while I go out and, you know, find a new client or do this or do that. It's like one of the things that I don't want to do anymore is I don't want to edit. That's my next question. I hate it. I don't want to edit anymore. And it's not because I hate it. I hate it. But it's like, it consumes so much of my time. like I could be out there finding the next client. I could be improving this process. I could be, you know, marketing, you know, all these other things, but I'm sitting down here
for hours
editing. But the problem is, here's the biggest issue with editing. A good editor is going to be expensive.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
Very expensive.
Very expensive. And a bad editor, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And one thing about me is I hate missing deadlines.
Yeah.
Like, it might sound bad to say, I don't care who died in your family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I paid you for this and the due date is this date.
Yeah. You need it done.
I need it done, bro. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing with me is I'm never going to be the guy that's going to be like, yo, is it done?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like,
yeah.
What's going on? I just be like, yo, is it done? No. Okay. Well, you know, it's due on this date, right? That date comes and goes and you're not done and you give me your sob story. I'd be like, no problem. I'll pay you. I'm not going to call you again though.
Yeah.
Like that's just how our team rolls. And everybody that comes in knows like, this is how we get down.
But it's accountability piece too. That's what propels your business forward. Exactly.
It's like, you got to do what you got to do. Again, this is being an entrepreneur. Every piece of food you put in your mouth is now based on what you actually do.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, you don't eat.
Trust me. Have you ever had to like actually let someone go from your film company?
I never really let anybody go. I did move from one set of people that I work with to another set of people. True. But it wasn't that I let them go because like I don't think I'm anybody's boss, right?
Yeah, okay.
But I really feel like everybody gets to a point in their development where they have to do things their way. And that's really how I started. I started working with a company. Yeah. And they taught me a lot of things and I learned and developed. And I said, okay, cool. Thank you for everything. I respect everything that you did for me. But I got to do some things. I want to do things differently. Yeah. For the way I see how to do it. Yeah. And that's just how my development happened, right? True. So it's like, even with the people that I work with now, if one day they come to me and they're like, yo, Jay, like, I want to start my own company and I want to do this and I want to do that. I say, hey, man, that's cool. Do your thing. Right. But in terms of like letting anybody go, I've worked with people here and there that just didn't get it. Yeah. Right. And I had to let them know like, yeah, like this is not going to work. Yeah. But it's not like I'm their boss and I hired them and then I'm like, yeah, you're not performing. So it's
a respectable conversation.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Like everybody's responsible for themselves and they got what they got to do. But if you can't get it done, then we just can't work together.
So let's talk about weddings. Because honestly, I've shot 2 weddings in my life. Not many at all. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a professional at shooting weddings. How do you like it? And how do you go about getting clients for weddings? And what type of price point are you aiming for?
So weddings are dope in terms of development for a creative. And the reason why I say that is because if we compare, like, let's say a commercial to a wedding, right? On a commercial, you have unlimited takes. If you screw it up.
Your wedding is stressful. Jeez.
Weddings, you got to know your stuff. Yeah. Like, you got to understand the exposure triangle. You got to understand your composition. You got to understand, camera movement. You got to understand frame rates. Like there's so many things that you just have to know and have to be able to change on the fly in order to get the shot at a wedding. Yeah. So for somebody that's learning how to use a camera or, trying to become, better at being a cinematographer or videographer or whatever, go do a wedding. Yeah. Because I guarantee
I did one early and I was like, holy shit.
You're going to learn. Yeah. Like you have to learn. Yeah. Or you're not going to make it. And then once you understand all those principles and all those different things, you can do it like that. Going and shoot a commercial is like easy. So for me, I enjoy weddings. To be honest with you, is what really helped me to build my business and become like an entrepreneur and just be able to do this full time. Is like weddings really help position me to do that. Yeah. And it's like from a price point, you can do one wedding and make anywhere from 6,000 to like 15,000. Yeah. Like, just depending on what they want and how it needs to be done, you can make real money doing weddings. So it really just comes down to using the opportunity to learn and then applying that to other things.
True. So I guess weddings kind of gave you the blueprint how you kind of want to run your business.
Right.
because yeah, weddings, that's hard stuff. Like I remember I was flying from one corner to the other corner, and I was just only doing one other person. So we're trying to have synergy to see what the shot is, because if you miss that kiss, you're done.
You're toast.
You're toast.
You can't be like, oh, excuse me.
Yeah, do that again.
Am I redoing that?
Yeah.
There's no time for that.
Yeah, that was stressful. But yeah, that was a time. So there's a couple questions that I ask everybody on the show, and I want to make a prediction. I want to play this in 5 years, and I'm like, Jamal did say he was going to do that. Where do you see your business in 5 years, or yourself?
So I think the next major thing that we're thinking about is actually getting like a studio space, but not like the regular studio spaces that you see where you go in and you take a couple pictures.
Yeah.
No, we're not trying to do that. We're trying to do something
like a creative hub.
More so, almost like a production set where you have, high ceilings. We want to be able to also have gear available to rent.
True.
So instead of like you coming in and being like, oh yeah, I need to go to whatever rental house to go get all this stuff, you can literally just walk in
and it's ready for you.
And everything is there that you need: lighting, cameras, lenses, etc. Like it's all there. And then you have, large studio spaces. And I mean like large, where you can like fit a car in if you wanted to.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
And just have everything that you really want and need like there. Right. And that's like a major goal. We've been talking about it for a while, but we're like finally now actively
looking for that,
doing the things that we got to do to make something like that happen. But that's where I see myself. I love shooting. Like I used to work at a call center, taking calls all day. Yeah. And it's like, I never had the opportunity to go anywhere. Yeah. Right. I just didn't have the time, or I didn't have the money to do it. Right. And now like I'm all over the place. Like, literally. I'm here, there, everywhere. Like whenever I gotta be there, I'll be there. Right. And it's like that kind of opportunity comes when you position yourself to win. Right. So I'm just trying to continue doing that and just have a studio where it's now like, I don't have to pick up a camera every time to go, make something happen. I can just let people come in and use my space or use my equipment to do what they got to do as well. Okay, dope. And another question that I ask everybody on the show: what is the best advice that you've gotten, and what is the worst advice you've gotten? And you don't gotta mention any names. The best advice for sure was build a team. Yes. As a creative, especially in Toronto, and being like, Black creative, a lot of the times we're more worried about people taking our clients than coming together and getting clients. You know what I'm saying? And what's crazy is like, the craziest thing about like that mentality is, like we were talking about it earlier, you as an individual can only say such a high number because you're showing up by yourself with one camera or maybe two, whatever. Like you can only do so much as yourself. When you have a team of people that's dedicated to making the best quality product for the client, the sky's the limit, really.
You're talking numbers.
Right. And then and like the other thing that's crazy is like, you can only hit so many avenues as an individual. So what I mean by that is, you only have your Instagram page, you only have your website, you only have, your client pool or whatever that you're working with. If you're working with 5 or 6 other people, that's 5 or 6 other avenues of clients that you can be a part of as well.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I'm saying? And people are not thinking like that. They just want to keep everything to themselves and like, oh, I'm not going to show you this because if you know it, then you're going to use it to get clients. And it's like, bro, now that I shot a TV show, a 26 episode TV show last summer, and then I shot a movie this year. Jeez. And when you look at the bigger picture, and you just realize how much money is actually circulating in the film industry for creatives.
It's endless.
Bro, it's so wild how much money like is out there. Yeah. And you're fighting for $500. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop doing that. Team up with other people, like-minded people. You have to. That's the hard part, is you got to find like-minded people that have the same mentality as you and that are willing to do the work. And then you go out there and you get real bags. You know what I'm saying? And then I guess, what was the worst information? The worst thing I got. I think the worst information was like, telling me that you have to hustle, like just take everything.
Yo, I hate that as well. I hate that. And people, I feel like when you have a camera, people don't get that. Like they'll say, hey, just take that or just shoot like this. But I don't do that. And it depletes my energy for one. And I'm not going to put my all into that project because I just don't do that. So you're going to be annoyed with me.
Exactly. It's like, if you set a standard, like let's say, for example, your day rate is $2,500, right? To come with all your equipment. Maybe you come with 2 other people to help set up the camera, set up the lights, whatever. It's $2,500 to have you for the day rate, right? And then you go and do. Our client reaches out to you and they're like, "Yo, I only have $1,200. Like, let's do it for 12." And you're like, "You know what? $1,200 is better than nothing. So, all right, let's do it for 12." There's a couple things that happen that screws you in the long run. You go and you do that job for $1,200 opposed to $25, and you don't have enough money coming in to satisfy everybody that's a part of that project. That's number one. That's the first problem. Second problem is if you're like me, for $1,200, whether it's $1,200 or $2,500, I'm gonna do an amazing job regardless. I'm showing, if I agree to it, I'm showing up. I'm gonna do wicked work. I do that wicked work for the client now. Present it to them, give it to them. Now, every referral that I get from that client,
It's at a 1,200 price point.
they're coming at me thinking, "Oh, yo, $1,200, okay."
Yeah.
But that's not my rate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a difficult conversation for me to now tell that client it's not $1,200, it's $25. You know what I'm saying? So you're literally shooting yourself in your foot. You're hustling backwards at that point.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you got to. Anybody that tells you like I just do everything and whatever the price is, I'm gonna do it, they're gonna burn out.
Yeah.
Like, you know for sure they're not gonna make it long because they're taking on way more than they should, and then especially if you're doing your own editing, right, on the back end.
Yeah, people don't get that.
You have like 10 projects that you gotta go edit.
Yeah.
But you're trying to take on another one because you need another $500 to pay your rent this month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now you have 11 projects that you have to sit down and edit, and you can't get through it because
it's too much.
you still have enough hours in a day.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, you gotta say no to people, and
no's are powerful too. And they set a standard.
You know, it's a crazy thing. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like me because my price point is more than what they're willing to pay.
But who cares?
And that's my point. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, if you come to me and you're like, "Yo, what does it cost for you to do a music video?" And I'm like, "Yo, it starts at $2,500 just for our production. Editing is separate. If you need pre-production, that's separate. But our production day, we're gonna charge you $25. And you're like, "Yo, there's a guy that's saying $5 bills," and I'm just like, hit him up.
Yeah, go.
Hit him up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not fighting you to spend money on your project.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it costs money to get this stuff done. Especially when, like you said, I invested my time and money and into my craft and my equipment. Like, just for me to show up, like, if you were to rent, like, literally, if you were to just rent the equipment that I show up to shoot your project with, you're already at like $2,000 just to rent it.
Exactly.
And if you don't know how to operate it, and you need somebody to operate it and do everything,
that's another price.
You got to pay the person to do that.
Exactly.
You got to pay people to come and do that for you if you don't know how to do it yourself. If you don't own it, you got to pay for the equipment to show up and do what you need to be done.
100%.
And at the end of it, and I think a lot of creatives, like, they're so afraid of like offending people. And it's like, you're not offending people by telling them what you want or what your time is worth. If they don't see value in it, they don't respect your value or whatever.
On to the next.
You just say, "Okay, no problem. Like I hope you find what you're looking for, but if you need it, I'm here. But this is where we start at." You can't be concerned about how people feel about you. Like, my skin is so thick, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you could say anything to me and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, word." All right, you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not losing sleep over not booking a client. And that's what I was saying. Like, a lot of creatives are so afraid of not booking that client. It's like, "Oh, I need to make money so that I can pay my rent this month."
Yeah.
And they just take all the BS that comes with, like,
that's what I learned the hard way. That's why I don't really shoot as much as I did before, but because I felt like I got drained from the negotiation process. It's taxing, that process, but I'm a lot better at it now when I do shoot, because I don't care to argue with your low price. You can go somewhere else. I've been here for like 5 years now.
If it's too much, I get it.
Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Jeez. Okay, so let everybody know what's coming up for you, your social media handles, and where they can find you.
Okay, so right now I'm working on a very, very, we'll say, intensive online course.
Okay.
So like I'm literally giving all my secrets away.
Okay.
I'm building an online course where if you know nothing about cameras, or even if you're an advanced camera user,
Mm-hmm.
if you're trying to learn about the creative part of it, you're trying to learn how to, build your brand and build a business around it.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to learn how to use equipment, the technical parts of, this production world. I'm doing that all in a course, and it's not gonna be free.
Yeah.
Like I'm giving you, here's the thing: I'm giving people free information on my YouTube channel.
Film school.
I'm giving them free information on YouTube, and they're not coming and looking at it.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, no problem.
Pay for it.
Now I'm gonna put it all together really nicely, and I'm gonna charge for it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want all the secrets, that's where you're gonna have to go to get it.
Okay.
So that's like one of the number one things that I'm working on right now is that online course.
When can we expect that?
Bro. with the way that I'm structuring, I'm trying to get at least, put it like this: for each module, I have 5 modules, and for each module, there's about 10, we'll say courses or parts of it.
So it's deep.
Yeah, it's like very deep. Like we go from the very basics to like the really advanced stuff.
Okay.
And where we really are trying to focus our information and energy as well is the business part of it, because a lot of creatives suck at the business part. Yeah, that was me.
I needed that.
They suck at it. So it's like I've been through the fire. Like I literally went through it and took all of the BS.
Yeah.
Like all of it.
Okay.
And now I learned it, and I'm like, I'm going to show you how to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show you the best ways to get what you want from people.
Okay.
So that's the top of my list right now. And then I guess you can find me on Instagram at flashforwardmg.com.
Dope.
Or at flashforwardmg. And then my website is flashforwardmg.com.
Okay. Dope. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. That was a lot of game, especially about the negotiating part that helped me. I'm looking forward to your course coming up, and then in the future, if you want to come back, you're welcome back anytime. Appreciate it.
For sure.
Thank you.
Everything black on black. If I studied that facts on facts.